Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another weekly outlook video. So I literally just woke up but I need to get this weekly outlook video done because I've got a fairly busy day today, so this is the only slot I had to get the video done and do my analysis for the week. Alright, so I didn't prepare at all for this video, so I'll just be going through and having a look to see what I'm seeing on the market. Alright, so you can get rid of this. Alright, so we're here on the GBPAUD. Alright, so this pretty much analysis, this already played out. So we had downward trend, it broke the trend line, it's currently now retesting that previous support now. So previous support broke through, retesting it as support again. So what we might see from here, I'll just get rid of this because that is not needed, and also get rid of the RSI. Alright, so this already played out, so what I'll be looking at from here will be fairly simple. So we had these highs that were formed, so if we see a clear breakthrough of these highs, right, we're clear retest, get rid of this. So if you see a break of these highs, a continued push higher, come back, retest, you know, so it may find some resistance at this level, bounce and go, right? So I'll be looking at something like that maybe this week. GBPCAD, so I'll just clean this up a little bit as well, so we can get rid of this. All right, so get rid of this, so we're not looking at this anymore. So what we'll probably be looking at to get along on this pair, right, is a nice clean clear breakthrough of these previous resistance level. All right, come back down, test to then target, you know, probably further highs, right? So look at something like that. But what we might see is, because of the tightening of price, right? Whenever I refer to tightening of price, what I'm looking at is you have this resistance level forming here together with this uptrend line that's keeping price going. So what you're seeing is price is quite expansive in these areas, right? So you have expansive price like this, and then it's getting, the waves are getting, I mean, yes, you did have this spike out, but what has been respected mostly is this trend line here. So yes, you did have this spike, but it's, you know, it's not even as deep as this was, right? So, you know, we have this tightening of price here, right? So this is what you could see continuing, and you can either see a crash, a spike out above, or a momentum move above, because whenever you see price tightening like this, it's just collecting orders, right? And it's gonna have a big breakout, so it can either break out above or break down below, right? So either one of these things can happen, so it's just something to keep your eye on, right? This arrow always gets me, right? So something to just keep your eye on. I'll be keeping my eye on it, you know. So if it does break below, I'll probably look for obviously a clear breakthrough below, come back up, test, and then drop, right? So, you know, something like that. All right, that's GBPCAD. I'll keep it on my list for this week. Let's just see how price moves. GBPCHF. All right, so what did we have here? So, you know, price is just still stuck in this range. However, we closed off on Friday with a big, well, it had a rejection to the bottom, right? So what I'll look at from here, right, is to see maybe a break of this sort of trend line. Again, don't pay too much attention to how I draw these trend lines. I'm just doing some rough analysis, right? But you know, it's quite clear to see we're in this upward trend, right? So if I'm to trade this range, I'd look for price to break this trend line, come lower, and then you know, do something like that, right? Or I can't even say if it's a more probable move, right? But you could also see a clear breakthrough of these highs, right? And if that does happen, then I'll look for a retest and then trade to further highs, right? So with these highs here, cool. So you could probably see something like that happen this week. GBPJPY changes from green, and I will get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. You know what? I'll just remove all the drawings and we'll start from fresh. All right. So what we're seeing is same as before, right? We have these highs. It was previous support in these areas, resistance here. So I'll just use this area, right? It's actually absolute high over there. Price has been in this very steep uptrend, right? So you have this uptrend here. So what we might see is same as before, right? I'll just again kind of connect this very steep trend line, right? So what we actually see in here, you can quite clearly see, right, in this area here, we have a nice steady move. Even though it's a little bit slow, it's a nice steady move, and then you have this sharp move down, right? And then you kind of had this corrective move back into the level. Very, very slow, very, very corrective, right? So what I always look at is how long did price take to get to here, right? From this high to this low, how long did it take? It didn't take very long, right? That was probably what, 2 weeks. We're looking at the daily time frame. So to get from the low back to where price sold off from, I mean, this you're looking at September till today, right? So you're looking at a good 3 months, 4 months, right? So whereas this happened in probably 2 weeks. So this kind of says to me the buying pressure, even though it is strong, is not as strong as the selling pressure was from this previous level, right? And we never had a retest of this level since this dropped. So it's very likely that we will see a sell from here, probably. I don't know, but what I'll look for if we do see a sell from that area is a breakthrough of this trend line here. Maybe retest some of these highs, right? Do a retest, maybe even go all the way back up and test this zone, and then complete this trend line touch, right? And then we might even see a further bounce up. So we'll keep looking at something like that. I probably wouldn't be taking any sells in this. I'll only be looking for buys because of the uptrend, even though it's slow. Buys would be my preferred trade right now on the GBPJPY, right? But if we see a clear breakthrough above, obviously you know what I'll be looking for. Come back, retest, and then target previous highs. So I'll keep this on the list as well. Yellow, GBPNZD. Alright, so yeah, this analysis for me doesn't really need to change, still the same. So we look for, if prices to go higher, we look for a clear breakthrough of that trend line there, come back down, retest the zone, and then look for longs. Or what we might see is that kind of consolidation and trade within this sort of range, right? You have this range forming here on the daily time frame. So we might very well see a range continue this weekend with some sells. This week with some sells, or we might see, I don't know, we might see that momentum move, right? But again, you could quite clearly see the tightening of price, right? It's just getting tighter and tighter. So we might expect either some more tightening of price, or we might see an explosive move, right? But we'll just keep it on the list, see what happens. GBPUSD, nothing clear for me on this pair, right? I'll leave it alone, because we in this uptrend, but it's kind of in the middle of no man's land, right? So yes, you have this sort of resistance and support from way back in 2018, and you had these highs that were broken. It's just not clear enough for me. I'll just leave it alone. We have quite enough GBP pairs on the list. Euro AUD. Actually, I'm still in this trade, so it's only a very, very small position, but we had this massive corrective move. So price, I entered the trade all the way up here, scaled out along the way, scaled out most of my position along the way. Then we had this, I mean, it's a very, very clear W formation, right? So you have first leg down, sorry. All right, so you had this first leg down, you had the bottom, had the recovery, which broke the previous kind of resistance, kind of support. Then you had the double bottom, and now you're having this strong momentum move up, right? So you have this kind of W formation forming. So I don't know, it may come all the way back up to that trend line. I can just extend this. This will be my safety net. If price breaks above this, I'll just close the rest of the position. It's a very, very small part of the position left. I just like to leave some skin in the game. But you know, we'll see how this plays out. All right. But my general buy, I wouldn't be taking any buys on this pair at all anytime soon, because I mean, it's just been selling forever, right? So don't want to go against the general movement of the market. So anyway, on to EURCHF. Yeah, absolutely nothing clear for me on this pair. I'm just gonna remove it from a list. You know, I traded this last week, as I said, but it's just pure consolidation, right? Even though we're forming, you know, lower highs, lower lows indicated by these circles here, we had a break of this steep trend line. We broke this significant level. Yes, it retested it, but we got this nice retest here. But ever since then, it's just been consolidation, right? So for me, nothing clear on this pair. I'll just leave it alone. EURJPY, sorry, EURGBP. What are we seeing on this pair? All right, so we're in this. Let's go to the daily. All right, so we're just in this kind of recovery range. So we had this massive buy. It recovered, and then it's just been stuck in this in this range ever since, right? No clear direction. But you know, we could see in this impulse here, the buying pressure is quite more substantial than the selling pressure, right? You could even see it here, right? It bought strongly to this level and then slowly recovered, right? Bought strongly and then slowly recovered. Bought, slowly recovered. So it's obvious, it's quite clear to see the buying pressure is more substantial in this range. So, and then, you know, we had this big bullish engulfing candle on Friday. So, and you know, we're seeing some rejections here of the level. So I don't know, we might actually see a buy from here. I will be keeping my eye on this actually. So what I'll be looking for here is probably a move. It might just rocket up, you know, you don't know. But you know, I'll just look for a move, something like this, right? It may not happen exactly like that. It might just buy from where it is, but I'll be keeping an eye on it this week to look for buys. Just because it's in this range, buying pressure is quite clearly stronger than selling pressure. You know, and obviously you could quite clearly see it here, right? It bought from this absolute low all the way to this absolute high. Sellers tried to come in, right? It couldn't get price all the way back down. Instead, you saw a strong buy move, slow recovery, strong buy move, slow recovery, strong buy move, slow recovery. So, you know, you want to have probability on your side. That's what I look for. So we'll see if something sets up this week on this pair. And that doesn't need to be green, it needs to be yellow. EUROJPY. Cool, so analysis is still the same, no need to change this. We had the sort of flag pattern. You could go and look at my older videos, my older analysis videos to see my analysis on this. But if price does come into my level here with some rejection like we saw in the past, I'll look for short opportunities. EURNZD. What are we here? We're in this steady downtrend. Price is currently retesting this broken zone here, but you know, it's kind of at this major level of support as well. So all right, so what we have this level of support here, right? Price failed to go any lower than that. It tried to go lower, it couldn't. But then we had this level here. It's minor level. I say it's minor, but you know, it was supported in the past, right? Supported, I mean, resistance in the past, support, support, support. So we're just looking at that level. So price broke through, retested, came down, tried to go higher, couldn't, dropped. So I don't know, we might just see it stick, you know, it might just stick in this kind of range here for a while, right? And might rebound, or it might fall lower. I don't know, it's not clear to me, but my bias will be for shorts because obviously we're in this massive downtrend, right? But it's not clear for me, so I'll just leave it off the list. EURUSD, I'm gonna leave this pair alone for the week, right? My analysis is still the same. I'm still waiting. I'd like to see price reject where it is now, come into my level, show some rejection, and then look for buy opportunities. Why? Because we're in this massive uptrend for the longest while, right? So I'll still be looking for buys predominantly on this on this pair. I did try a sell earlier on this week. It didn't work out particularly well, but it was just a break-even trade. You know, I covered it in the recap video yesterday. So you know, my bias is still strongly for buys, and that is what I'll be looking for this week, right? If price is to come into my zone. CADJPY, right? So analysis here for me still the same, just being patient on this pair, waiting for a crack above to come back, retest, and then look for further long positions. We did see the analysis play out as I expected last week, just consolidation. And if it is to continue consolidation because of the tightening of price, then we might see a crack lower or we might see a crack higher. Right now, because of the massive uptrend, you know, my bias is for long positions because we've just been in this massive buy ever since the sell, right? And you know, it's the same thing over and over, right? You look for strong buys. How does it recover? Kind of recovers a little bit slowly, right? Strong buy, it kind of recovered sharpish here, right? And then it had this kind of, yeah, I don't know, maybe, you know, this was a very strong buy, right? And it never really came back. Sellers couldn't push the price all the way back, so we just kind of stuck in this indecision range, and the buying pressure and the selling pressure seems kind of equal, to be honest. But because of the strong trend that we're in now, the strong bullish trend, my bias is to kind of recover to where it sold off from, right? So I'll be looking for buy positions. Sell positions can be had in the range, and this is what a sell position would look like for me. So confirm lower highs, lower lows. So I don't know, we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll see how it goes, right? So from here, I'll just update this so I could get rid of that. So yeah, so from here, what we might see is a crack below. If we see that, come back up, retest these sort of highs, maybe the zone, right? And then look for kind of something like that, right? So just keep an eye on it. CADCHF range. I'm not looking at this. This is too rangy for me. No, I'm staying away from that. CHFJPY. I don't know if you've been watching my other videos. This has been one of my favorite pairs to trade because of how it trends, right? It trends a lot, but for the last pretty much since the start of the year, end of last year, so yeah, since Christmas, yeah, it's just been in this range, right? I'll just box the range off, so we have this range here. So until price kind of makes some kind of a clear move, right, I'll just stay away from it, even though, you know, and it tends to do it, right? You could see here it ranges here, and then you'll have a breakout and it trends for a while, and you know, that's just the nature of the pair. We stuck in this range for a while, so I'll just keep an eye on it in the upcoming weeks to see if we get a breakout, and then hopefully we'll get back involved in trading my favorite pair. USDCHF, Analysis still the same here, still being patient. I would like to see it come back up into this zone here. If it whether it does, whether it doesn't, I'm not sure, but that's the trade I'm looking for. Bias is still for sells. Right now we just have price respecting the 38.2 the 0.382 level, right? So you see it's just acting as resistance here. Had this massive sell-off last week with this big candle. I don't know, it might just continue to sell, right? But what I would like to see is I would like to see it push up into my zone, and then I'll look for my sell, right? And then as I said, analysis for me is still the same, right? So I'd like to see it push up from where it is now. So from where it is now, push up, give me my retest, see some rejection, and then target previous lows. All right, so I'll just keep an eye on it. USDCAD. This isn't a trade that I took, but what I did say was that if price did come into this, test this trend line and reject the zone, right, then I'd look for short positions, right? Hence this kind of analysis here. But I didn't have it on my list because it wasn't clear. It was just in this range, and price is currently at the zone, but it broke through quite strongly, right? It's not showing any signs of rejection at that level. So you know what, I'm just gonna remove all drawings from this, and it's not on my list, so no point looking at it. All right, USDJPY analysis is still the same on this. As I said, we will be stuck in this range, and the range is still held true. So you know what, I'm just going to remove this from my list for now because it's just kind of been ranging for a while. Yes, we have this tightening of price. Price is failing to go any lower, it's failing to go any higher. It's just kind of stuck in this. I'll just show you what I'm talking about if it's not clear. You're just kind of stuck in this kind of you're just stuck in this kind of tightening of price here, right? So yes, it had some crackouts, right? It did try to break out, but it immediately came back into this tightening of the range, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna leave this pair alone for now. I'll monitor it to see if we get any breakouts, and if we do, then I'll get involved, right? But what a breakout would look like is obviously some kind of strong momentum move out of this range, right? So you want to see a strong breakout, come back down, retest, and then you look for longs, or it just might break. It might break lower, right? So you know, strong breakthrough, come back, test the lows, right? Either this low here, whatever is more relevant, and then sort of do something like that, right? So but yeah, nothing clear. We want to just see that breakout and just keep an eye on it. AUDCAD analysis is still the same here, remaining patient. I'd like to see it come back down from where it is now, give me that retest. As you can see, I have my alert set just before the level, so if it comes down, show me some rejection, then I'll look for long positions. EURGBP, so this is a trade I'm currently in. It's a reversal trade. I know I am a big believer in trading with the trend, but the reversal was too clean for me to ignore. So basically what I covered in the recap video was on the 4-hour time frame. So basically on the daily time frame, we have price at this major level, right? So we have support, resistance, possible resistance again, right? Just looking at probabilities. On the 4-hour time frame, what I saw was price made a higher high on price, but then on the RSI we made lower highs, right, indicated here. So what lower highs on the RSI mean for me is a loss of momentum. Even though price is showing that it has momentum, making higher highs, RSI is saying that the momentum isn't as strong as what price is indicating that it is. Whenever you see hidden bearish or hidden bullish divergence, it's oftentimes you may see a reaction, right? You may see a sell. So what I don't normally take the sell off of just hidden divergence. I would like to see the sell confirmed, which we did see. Then I'd like to see it retest forming a lower high, which we saw, right? So you had high, higher high, sold, but then this high is lower than this high, right? That for me is confirmation that the buying pressure is not as strong as it seems to be, in, you know, obviously together with the hidden bearish divergence, right? And you can even see here the RSI didn't make it as high as it did before. So that's what I looked for here. I saw that in confluence with the zone. We saw this massive bearish engulfing candle, and that was enough indication for me, right? I entered the sell. So what I'm targeting is previous lows here. In one of my trades, I scaled out half of my position at these lows. I can just draw that in actually, so it's a bit clearer. All right, so you had this kind of zone here, right? My other position is currently sitting on break even. I didn't scale out any of my trade at this level on the other trade, so we'll wait to see, right? So what we might see from here is hopefully we'll see a crack through, right, and then target further lows. If we do see this crack through and it comes back up on retest with rejection, I'll scale into a position here. All right, so I'm in this trade, AUDJPY. All right, so all the odd pairs seem to have this trend reversal happening, right? And you know, these things are quite clear to see once you start looking for them, right? So you have here price kind of making this double top, right? And you could even say it's, yeah, so you kind of have that, right? So you have this double top, and then you have this trend line, and the trend line was broken. If you look on the RSI, even though price seems equal, right, the RSI is quite clearly saying that price momentum, right, the momentum of price is weaker, right? When you see things like this, right, together with some kind of price formation, it's oftentimes you will see a reaction, right? You will see a sell. As I said, I don't trade it. I don't trade those sells. I don't trade double tops. And I don't tend to stay away from reversal patterns unless it's very clear, right? And I use indicators for reversal patterns, hence the RSI, right? So then what we saw price break through, showing that it wants to sell. It came up, retested this sort of level, and is now looking like it wants to drop, right? But you know, you know what? I'll keep an eye on this pair this week just to see how it plays out. You know, we might actually see it test these levels. We might actually see a full correction, right? So what could we see from here? Price is currently retesting these levels here. Then we have this major level here. All right, you know what? That's probably the more substantial level, right? So we could see price push into this level and then push higher, right? And even push higher, or we might see it break down, you know, and kind of go lower, right? So might see something like that, or we very well might see price just rebound here, kind of do something like that, right? I don't know, we just have to keep an eye on it. I think is an interesting pair maybe for this week, some decent price action, because I mean, we've been in this uptrend for a while. It has been broken here. This trend line has been broken, so we might see a reversal. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. AUDNZD. So this is a trade I'm in. I did analysis on it in my Outlook videos last week and recap video yesterday. So pretty clear for me, even though all the other odd pairs look like, you know, they're reversing. I don't know. All right, I have a bullish bias on this one because, you know, we've been in this massive uptrend for a while, right? And then what we had was this downtrend broken, coming down to retest these previous resistance, support, resistance. So hopefully support, right? And I mean, what you also have here, right? If I just draw this kind of trend line, remember this is the daily time frame, right? So, you know, things will take a while for this to play out, but you have this kind of channel here, right? So if I was to copy this and just move it up, where are we? All right, so you kind of have this here, right? Wouldn't be 100% clean, but you get the idea. All right, so you have this kind of, on the daily time frame, you have this massive channel, right? So I'm kind of just hoping that, you know, we'll just see a completion of this channel, right? And I'm hoping that this would be where we see it start to buy from, right? For those of you who can't see the channel, so basically we had price moving here, broke into the channel, came up, down, well, up again, right? So this is kind of the channel that we're looking at, right? So yeah, it's not 100% clear, but you know, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, so I'm hoping that we kind of just see price bounce from this level to complete that major daily channel that we're in, right? Anyway, so that's AUDNZD for me. No setups on it because I'm just managing this trade. If it comes through and takes me out, that's okay. We'll probably look for price to come down, you know, retest the channel again and then buy. But you can clearly see, right? So once we're on the channel lines, we tend to kind of go. So we'll see what happens. Just keep an eye on it. AUDUSD. I'll just remove all my drawings on this pair. Remove drawings. All right, so we're in this massive uptrend, but this week and for the last couple of weeks, we're just kind of stuck in this range, making lower highs. It's probably, you know, it might very well just be a flag kind of forming. I don't know. Just kind of keep an eye on it, right? So you have this. You have this here. All right. Can make this a little bit neater. You get the idea, right? So we have this massive buy and prices in this kind of thing here. So you could just see something like that happen and then something like that, right? Yeah, and that will probably line up with this zone here. This kind of small zone there. And I mean, you'll see this happen on pairs over and over and over again. We have another one here. It's kind of corrective flag. All right, so you kind of have this here. It's not going to be 100% clean all the time, but you know, the pattern happens over and over again, right? So you had buy, massive strong buy. All right, then you have your leg. Your corrective leg back into this level, and then you see the buy, right? So you're just looking at the same thing again, right? It's just patterns, getting used to pattern identification. The more and more you look at charts, the more and more you'll see these patterns form, right? So yeah, something to keep your eye on. If that does happen, then you know, maybe we could have a trade this week, right? NZDCAD. All right, so this one's playing out as expected. Analysis remains the same. So what we're looking at is, so price made the move, right? So it didn't quite come into my level, but it's currently retesting this zone here, but it's not showing any signs of rejection. So what we might see from here, if we just jump to the lower time frame to see if we have any rejection, no, not really. I mean, it's respecting it, right? It's respecting it. I don't know, are we seeing any all right, so let's see. So higher high, no, RSI is still showing momentum. You see it's making, so this was a high here, it's made a higher high at this point here. Even if you just looked at, where are we? Well, equal highs on these two, equal highs, actually no, lower highs on RSI. Look, it came through above. Not the clearest, but you know, lower highs on RSI there, higher highs on price, right? You could see that if I just draw a line, if I just hold my cursor here. So we had this high on RSI here, then this high on price, and the high on RSI is lower, right? And then what you saw was a sell-off, and it's currently coming up to retest. So you know what? This is interesting. I'll keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on this week. We might, if we see some clear rejection at this level, I'll look for a short position, right? So if we see rejection here, something like that, I'll look for a short, right? And I'll just put this on here to remind me what I'm looking at. Stops will go above. That seems pretty good. Target for initial targets will be previous lows, right? And then further targets could be like these lows here or these lows here. So I'll keep an eye on that this week. NZDCHF. Back to the daily time frame. What do we have? Man, all of these things showing that they want to reverse, right? So let's get rid of this. All right, so this is as clear as you could probably even get it, right? So we have price made a high, price made a higher high, RSI made a high, or this high here, whichever one you want to choose. Price made this high, but then when price made a higher high, RSI made a lower high, right? And this is the daily time frame, the daily time frame. So that carries a lot of weight, right? On top of that, as I said, I don't trade just hidden divergence on its own. I need confirmation. Price had this big bearish candle this week, this massive candle here this week. It didn't go any lower. Instead, it just retested this level here. This is a massive level here. You could see we had a strong buy. It couldn't continue. It had to bounce. So that's natural, right? The move only just started, so it's kind of bouncing. But then it's respecting these highs here together with the respect and rejection of the broken trend line. So this is very interesting to me, right? So what I'll do from here is I would look at the lower time frames to see if I get any confirmations, right? So we see price making lower highs. That's good. That's a good sign. Lower highs being made. You can even probably say that that's probably a nice trend line there, right? Just connecting the highs, right? This high to this high, then it touched this high, and it's currently breaking through, right? So if price pushes up from here, right, and gives a rejection at these levels, maybe at this zone, right? So something like that, come back down, do something like this. If we see price action showing that it wants to go lower, right, some confirmed rejections, you know, give me a chance to get an entry maybe at a retest, I will be very interested in that, right? This is a area of resistance, support, sorry. So what we might see is if we do get a short setup, right, I'll look for entry anywhere around here, anywhere around these wicks. If it comes back up, stops will go nicely above the zone and trend line, right, something like that. Targeting initial targets will be previous lows, which will be down here, and then further targets could be all the way down here, right? So that's interesting for this week. So I'll add that to my list. NZDJPY. Jump back to the daily time frame. All right, so yeah, so we also kind of seeing weakening here as well on the RSI. Anyway, but we had the break of the trend line, so analysis for me still kind of stays the same. I can just shift this over. All right, make this a little bit higher. So analysis still the same here. I'd like to see it push back up into this level, form a double top, maybe even a higher high. All right, and then if RSI is forming lower highs, then you know, maybe we'll see the reversal at this level here, right? At this kind of level here. So I'll just keep an eye on it. Although if we see a nice strong momentum move, because you know, price could just literally do whatever it wants, right? So you know, we might see a strong momentum move, come back, retest, and then buy, right? So just keep an eye on it and see how it goes this week. NZDUSD, I can remove this from a list now. I can also empty the drawings, remove drawings, cool. So yeah, we're just seeing this corrective movement, right? Yeah, so basically what we have is price making these kind of lower highs here. Also have this here. All right, so price is kind of stuck in that range, but you know, we had this strong buy, so same kind of analysis, I guess, as AUDUSD. So could probably see it back into this zone correctively and then buy. You know, and as I showed before, right, you'll see these patterns happen over and over again, right? So I'll keep an eye on it. Nothing 100% clear for me on this pair. Yeah, it's not 100% clear for me, so I'll just probably leave this one off my list because we have these 3 NZD pairs that, you know, seem a little bit clearer for possible reversals, right? So anyway, so I think that kind of wraps up all the pairs for this week. So that's how I look at charts every week. You know, I'll just go through, clear my charts if they need to be cleared, update my levels, update my analysis, and yeah, and doesn't remove the things that aren't clear and just add some things that look interesting, right? And you know, as I said before, I just keep the yellows as probably things that might set up this week, reds as, you know, things in the distant future, greens for the ones that I'm managing, right? Managing or entered in, right? So yeah, we've got quite a few pairs this week, so we'll see how it goes. You know, obviously, as I always say, if you like what you see, if you like how I analyze the charts, if you want to join me on my journey, my trading journey this year, which has started really well, you know, feel free to subscribe, pass the video on to people that you think might be interested, or anyone you believe might gain any value from the way I analyze my charts. Yeah, and you know, feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.